say that entrepreneurship is personal. It's the way in which we take our wildest dreams and make them a reality. So good evening, everyone. I'm Jennifer Matthew. I'm the Executive Director of the Connecticut Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. And as you know, we always say we inspire a culture of entrepreneurship and innovation at UConn to our alumni worldwide. But more than that, we inspire entrepreneurs to take those crazy dreams and make them a reality. We all want to make the world a better place. And that is what the 6 Wolff finalists aim to do with the technologies, the products, and the services that they are all going to be pitching to you tonight. But before I introduce these entrepreneurs and hear their pitches, it's my pleasure to introduce to you John Elliott, the Dean of the UConn School of Business. One of my mentors once told me, if you get the chance, introduce people not by what they do, but what they mean to you. So I just wanted to note how important John has been in our entrepreneurial ecosystem and has been so supportive in cultivating the work we've done at CCEI. I cannot imagine the just sheer volume of activity we've been able to develop over the last 10 years, 15 years in the School of Business at CCEI and at UConn. And we certainly wouldn't be here tonight celebrating 6 amazing entrepreneurs. So John, please welcome me in saying some welcome remarks this evening.
Thanks, Jen. It's really an extraordinary pleasure for me to be here. I've been dean here at UConn for now 11 years, moving into year 12, and it has been a wonderful run. People sometimes ask me to talk a little bit about what the School of Business is about and what our DNA looks like. And one answer to that is entrepreneurship. And it's interesting because this is a heritage that dates back a long time. And the name Wolff is prominent in this evening's events, and the family is prominent in our experience with entrepreneurship, and it dates back to the 90s when Wolff Sr., no longer with us, came to UConn and tried to convince the presidents and the leaders that entrepreneurship had a future and was important and needed to be nurtured and fed and grown. They didn't all embrace that idea at the time. I know that from talking with Gary, his son, but also from just watching what has happened over time. However, it did sow the seeds. So there's the Wolff Chair in Entrepreneurship, there's the Wolff New Venture Competition, and tonight we've got 8 years on the, but I think it's more than that in terms of the number of years of impact and effect and activity. And I was excited when I came in and watched the buzz in the room. One of the things that I think is critical about the School of Business is that we try to engage important conversations. We try to bring people together to work together and engage and be involved. And that means not just our students, not just our faculty, but also our alumni, the corporate community. And many of you are here from the corporate community. Many of you are going to be judging tonight as representatives of the corporate community. So it's a community that is really rich and deep and has expansive consequences for the future of our business school. We think of the business school as an engine of economic opportunity for the state of Connecticut. The Connecticut Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, CCEI, we're very acronym heavy at UConn. It's a long-standing investment by the state in the idea that good ideas, new ideas, create opportunity and can grow. And what Jen is preparing and presenting to you all tonight, what you all are here to celebrate, is the outcome of some of those efforts. So I am excited that we're here. I'm excited that the Wolff family has supported what we've done for so long. They set the stage 30 years ago. And over the intervening 30 years, a number of other people have sort of caught on to the importance of innovation, caught on to the importance of entrepreneurship. And we recently renamed our Department of Management in the School of Business the Department of Management and Entrepreneurship. We take it that seriously. We have many, many new courses in entrepreneurship. We have many, many new courses in what it means to create business plans, what it means to create starting companies. Happily, the university, 6 years ago, David, for Worth Institute, 6 years ago, Peter Worth came to the university, and watching and seeing what was going on here, some of it growing from the seeds of the Wolff family 30 years ago, looked at what was happening and said, this is good, but it could be so much better. And he made a $22.5 million investment in helping us make it better. And David is the current head of that enterprise, the Worth Institute, and it's one of many elements within our school that work together to create the future. So I'm excited about what we're doing. I run on too long, but I get carried away sometimes. I think there's a lot of great stuff going on. I'm glad so many of you are here. And the other thing that I would celebrate is when I walked in the room, the buzz was amazing. People were talking to each other, meeting each other, learning about each other, sharing ideas, and that's one of the reasons we're here. We want you all to get to know each other and to share ideas and to make the future richer and better than the past. So thank you for being here. We're excited to have you.
Thank you, John. So I love this annual tradition of coming together as a group and being able to celebrate the accomplishments of entrepreneurship activity at UConn, and especially these amazing entrepreneurs that I can't wait for you all to meet. I know we've had some really great articles that were shared over the last 6 to 8 weeks, getting everyone excited about this event and showcasing the great work that these teams have done, but they're really, the passion is in them and their voice and what they have to express. And again, these world and life-changing technologies that they're creating. So proud of you guys and all that you've accomplished so far. And I hope that you're sitting in these seats so excited to get up here and to present, right, and to share that excitement with the world. Because if you don't, that idea is just going to live inside of you and not make the impact that it can. So congratulations in advance for the great pitches this evening. So I also just want to say huge thank you to our team at CCEI. Obviously could not do what we do without them. They are amazing. And I also want to acknowledge the various players in this event. Obviously the Wolff family, and Gary's here with us tonight, and he'll be able to be introduced in a little bit. But Gary and Greg and their family have been so supportive, not just in the back end, but here with us, have gone on various field trips that we call them and say, hey, let's go down to meet Pete at Digital Surgeons and go and really understand how we can get the word out about what we're doing and engage the ecosystem. They are full on engaged in what we do, and I've been so lucky to have them as supporters and champions here at CCEI, so thank you. I also want to acknowledge our instructors, our faculty here at CCEI, so Michelle Cody, Wayne Bragg is in the room, Rory McGloin is not here. They have been, one-on-one with our teams all summer long, all fall, really helping to coach them, guide them, and just be that sounding board when stuff hits the fan, right? So really grateful for the time and energy that you've put into that. I also want to acknowledge, last but not least, Alicia Krasniak. Could not imagine this event and these programs without you. So it's not just this great showcase tonight, but it's all of the other programs that Alicia has put energy and effort into to get these teams here. Some of them, they've been working with us for a year, year and a half, 2 years, going through the pipeline of programs that Alicia has been managing. So thank you for all of your work in supporting the entrepreneurs, not just tonight, but always. So Alicia, I'm going to turn it over to you to take us through the event logistics and get the show on the road. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everyone. So tonight, you are going to hear pitches from 6 teams, 6 UConn-affiliated startups. In this group, we have faculty, staff, undergraduate and graduate students, and they are all founders that are participating this evening with their startups that they have built. That group represents 6 schools and colleges and 7 departments and majors across UConn. That is huge. They will pitch for 8 minutes, which will be followed by 5 minutes of Q&A from our judges. And if you're watching from home, You can ask questions through the chat, and the teams can answer them when they've completed presenting tonight. Now, I'm pleased to introduce our esteemed panel of judges for the evening. Laura, take us away.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you again. Laura Dinan-Haber, Innovation Brand Manager with Nassau Financial Group. We have a InsurTech and RetireTech incubator located across Constitution Plaza.
And I'm Casey Pickett. I'm the Managing Director at Climate Haven, which is a new climate tech incubator based in New Haven, Connecticut.
I'm Kwesi Quay. I'm a partner at Fairview Capital Partners. We are based in West Hartford, Connecticut. We're a private equity fund of funds, and we also do direct co-investments in early stage companies.
Hey, I'm Pete Senna. Most importantly, UConn alumni. Figured I'd celebrate that today. I'm a Connecticut entrepreneur. I started a brand transformation company called Digital Surgeons in my UConn dorm room while I was still a student there. School of Business, hello. And I'm an active angel investor and corporate company builder.
All right, thank you all for joining us tonight. We're really thrilled to have you here. So our judges and you, audience members, have a very important job tonight. Tonight, we are awarding over $57,000 in non-dilutive funding. It is the largest amount of funding in the 8 years of the Wolff New Venture Competition. So the first place prize tonight is $25,000 being given on behalf of the Thomas and Betty Wolff Family Fund for Strategic Entrepreneurship. A $10,000 second place prize thanks to Santander Bank, who supports CCEI through our programs throughout the year. Prime Materials Recovery, Inc. is supporting the third place prize with $7,500 of funding. And audience members, this is where it gets fun for you. Fiandello, My Loan, and Los Aracena are once again supporting our $5,000 Audience Choice Award. So after all the startups have pitched, and while the judges are deliberating, audience members can vote for their favorite pitch of the night via the button on the live stream page or the QR code that will be on the screen. And we wrap up our awards with the Bay State Financial Disruption Award, awarded to the product or service that has the potential to be the most disruptive to their market or industry. And finally, the Mark and Jamie Summers Innovation Award, given to the technology or innovation that has potential for large-scale impact. I'd also like to acknowledge Forge and Digital Surgeons, who both provided in-kind manufacturing and branding support, respectively, to our teams throughout both their participation in Summer Fellowship and the Wolff New Venture Program. We are extremely grateful to all of our ecosystem partners, so thank you for everything that you do. And let's get started with this competition.
Hello. My name is Delia. I work at Cannon Beach Surf Shop in Lawrencetown, Nova Scotia, Canada. I've been surfing for over 15 years and taught Amelia to surf almost 10 years ago now. I've been an ear for her while she's brainstormed and created what is today Mud Wrap. Amelia uses mycelium mushrooms to make surfboard blanks or cores. Although mycelium surfboard has been made before, it was only as an end product surfboard. Mudrat's mycelium blanks are for shapers to use to make the boards that their customers already love and use. Today's surfboards are made from styrofoam cores or blanks. Not only is mycelium safer for the environment at large, but also for the shapers themselves, as they won't be exposing themselves to the styrofoam dust. There's many different shapes of surfboards for all different styles and kinds of surfing and surfers. However, all of these boards are being produced with not sustainable blanks, unfortunately. Amelia is setting the standard for what surfboards should be. Sustainable, down to the very core that's in each of them. As a community, surfers need to make sure that the equipment that we use is good for the environment so that we can keep doing what we love. Amelia is passionate, creative, ambitious, and the only one that I know that can both think of and then go through with something as cool, sensible, and exciting as making surfboards from mushrooms. There's no better person to lead some of the big next steps in sustainability in the surf world than Amelia Martin.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a surfer. Lucky for me, in 2016, I became friends with the only surfer at my high school, Delia. All it took was me standing on the board for that first time for me to fall in love with it. Fast forward to freshman year of college, I loved surfing so much, I decided I wanted to make my own surfboard. And guess what? I fell in love with that too. But so much so that I wanted that to be my career. So I kept making surfboards. A surfboard's only made with 3 things: a styrofoam core, fiberglass, and resin. They're typically sanded by hand, and when you shape them, this fine styrofoam dust comes off. It didn't take long into my surfboard shaping career for me to start coughing. My skin was getting itchy. I was sick. All it took was a quick Google search to figure out that the thing that I loved was hurting me. Styrofoam's only made with 2 chemicals, and both of them are deadly. And not only that, when I was looking into all this, I found out that styrofoam takes 500 years to decompose, and it spends that time sitting in a landfill, hurting our environment. Giving up on my dream of being a surfboard shaper wasn't an option, but continuing to hurt myself and our world wasn't one either. So I decided we could do better. And that's why I'm proud to introduce Mudrat's mushroom cores. Now, our solution's one that's been growing under our feet this entire time. We use mycelium, or the roots of mushrooms, and every mushroom has this before it becomes the mushroom. When you pair this with the right organic material, you get a product very similar to styrofoam. Now, to break the toxic cycle that surfboard cores have created, we need our product to be natural, something simple. So simple, it can be made in 3 easy steps. Mycelium is one of the leading materials to replace styrofoam right now, but no matter how you're trying to make it, you're always going to first add your mushroom spores to whatever substrate you're using, then give it some time to grow, and third, bake it to solidify it. And by the end of 8 days, you get a product that's ready for the shaping bay. Now, I just told you how simple the process is, so why isn't anyone else doing it? Well, like Delia said, there have been end product mycelium surfboards made in the past, but there has yet to be a way to make mycelium where it can be shaped and sanded as precisely as styrofoam can. And since I wouldn't be a shaper without something to shape, this problem was at the forefront of our minds when we developed Mudrat's trade secret mix. Now, we may be the only eco-friendly surfboard core going on the market right now, but that doesn't mean we don't have competition. Styrofoam surfboard cores are currently the only cores on the market right now, and as we've already covered, they're deadly. Eco boards are end product surfboards, and while they're mostly non-toxic and sustainable, they take shapers out of the equation, and buying one could run you into the thousands of dollars. That means they're using a core that costs $160. Mine only costs $119. Now, the surf industry's always been growing, but even more so since COVID. Right now, the current market for surfboard cores is nearly $500 million. The next market size down is looking at just the United States and taking out any performance-grade styrofoam that would be used to make a competition surfboard. Right now, we estimate that our serviceable, obtainable market is worth $11 million. And that houses our first-year target customers of backyard and independent shapers in the United States. We plan to reach our customers in 3 waves. First, starting in New England, before moving down the East Coast. And then we're going to head to Southern California, where we're going to set up shop in San Diego. Mudrat is made in America, so we want to put down roots and establish ourselves here first, before moving international and connecting with some of our shapers in Portugal, Australia, and Peru. Now, before we get into the numbers, I want to tell you a little bit about who Mudrat is as a company. We are a manufacturing business, part of the surfboard supply chain. We are only making the cores of surfboards using local, readily available materials that can be scaled as needed. We're planning on reaching our customers by selling B2B to surf shops, where currently 1/3 of surfboard core sales are being sold, and also by selling B2C online through our website, where we expect to see the majority of our sales. Now, to get ready for our launch in October of 2024, we're going to start marketing our product for pre-orders as soon as our prototype is tested and ready. Our pre-order strategy involves getting some sponsored posts from some local legends like Peter Pan in Rhode Island, having a demo day, which would be the public's first look at Mudrat products, and also by reaching out to some surf industry medias like Stab's Surf Magazine. We're going to use the height of the surf season in June to be getting those pre-orders in. And with the help of some local surf shops like Warm Winds in Rhode Island, we're going to be having a Mudrat-sponsored surf competition. We plan to fly to San Diego at the end of September to network and get our name out some at the World Surf League competitions. And of course, we're going to have an awesome launch event. Now, the production of our cores starts before we make that first sale. We're going to be building up inventory so that when our launch date hits, we're ready to start shipping. The chart shows 1,950 of the 2,300 cores we plan to sell in our first year. And that would give us close to $200,000 in revenue, which we plan to reinvest to use to scale for our year 2. We used value-based pricing, so our cores are slightly more expensive than what you'd typically see on the market today. But after talking with surfers and shapers, all said that they would rather pay more for a product that they know is eco-friendly. And after accounting for our fixed and variable costs, and also after startup costs, of the 2,300 cores we plan to sell in our first year, we only need to sell 708 to break even. We're about a year away from that time and from our projected first sale, and to get there, we're currently focused on product and development. When our prototype's complete in 2 months, we'll be building partnerships and fundraising. We want to have all of our startup costs accounted for before we make that first sale so that we can continue to focus on delivering our shapers the best product possible. And to do that, we've got the best team possible. I'm Amelia Martin, the CEO and founder of Mudrat, and together with my product development partner, Thomas Wright, we're bringing the new expectation of what the surf industry can be. And to do that, we need your help. Now, it's no secret. Running a business is expensive. $96,000 are our approximate startup costs needed to bring Mudrat into launch. And as we like to say here, the health of the environment and our shapers shouldn't have to wait. Thank you for joining and supporting our journey. Any questions?
First question, why mushrooms, why now?
So the surf industry has been long awaiting for something. We have plant-based resins. We have hemp that we can replace for fiberglass, but no one's really figured out a way to make the inside of a core be different. Mycelium's been on the rise in the last few years, and people are using it to replace styrofoam packaging, make furniture, make like flooring panels also. So like I've said, people have tried to make it before, but it's hard to make it in a way that it can be sanded to match styrofoam, and really no other material's been able to match styrofoam in that specific way yet. So we've been working on this since 2019, and this was the most promising material because it was so easy and so non-toxic to be working around. So as soon as we were able to get our research down pat, it was time to move on to a business. Really, the sooner the better.
Thank you. Follow-up question, what's your IP defensibility strategy?
So we can't patent mycelium as the idea for a surfboard since mycelium is a biological process and you can't patent that. So what we can do is have a manufacturing patent, and once our prototype is complete, we're considering going down that route, but right now I am the only one who knows the mix that we use to make the mycelium, and Thomas, my product development partner, is making a machine that can carry out our specific methods for growing it. Since it's just us two and he's planning on staying on board, we're thinking about going trade secret route because we think that in the end that'll defend us better than someone being able to look up what we're actually doing.
Thank you.
Kwesi Kwei here. Thank you, Amelia, for the excellent presentation.
You're welcome.
I am curious to know, and I know you've just made a great presentation about surfing, but you're going after a very, ubiquitous ingredient in the surfboards, and I'm curious to know, are there applications outside of surfing where your product could be applicable?
Yeah, so, you can use mycelium for a lot of things. People have made clothing with it, furniture. Right now it's big on packaging, and that's the easiest way to do it. I personally, for my brand, only want to stay within the surf industry, but I would be more than happy to lend a hand to someone moving outside because I'm an environmentalist, and more stuff like this in the world is what we need. But for my specific method, I think it would be best for surfboards since we're making it specifically so it can be shaped and sanded. It could be applied in other everyday uses, but we're only focused on staying within our industry.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Amelia, thanks so much. Casey Pickett here. Can you talk about the materials a little bit more and the end of life process? So how are they? How do you get the shell, on the underlying core, and then what happens after someone's done using the surfboard?
Yeah, so right now what's happening in the surf industry is a surfboard has a lifespan of around 2 years if you're consistently using it, and then it just gets thrown away in the garbage. So styrofoam and the rest of the materials that are traditionally used today last upwards of 500 years. Our mycelium product should decompose after 40, and the materials that we use to make it are all organic, like sawdust, straw. People use manure, we don't. But the life expectancy is a lot less. It's the same process that you would see in a regular surfboard. So you'd first shape the core and then lay down fiberglass cloth and put resin over it. There are some eco-board shapers that the only thing they're missing is the core outside of using the natural resin and like a hemp fiberglass substitute. If all of those materials are used, our core will decompose in 40 years and theirs product should decompose in 100. So it brings the lifespan down significantly, but also a core is 95% of what a surfboard actually is. So just by having that core, our core in place using traditional materials, a lot of the surfboard's going to be decomposed.
You're saying even if it were covered in fiberglass and resin, it would still be able to decompose?
Yeah, because you're not gonna, surfboards get thrown away when they get snapped in half or if you ding them, and that's like if you get a little hole in it because then they're water damaged. So that's where once water gets in, it won't immediately destroy our board, so it'll be fine if it breaks and you're in the middle of the ocean. You're not gonna like drown. But once you throw away that damaged board, then you let the environment get to it, like the wind, the water, and it eventually erodes. Even if you put a perfectly new surfboard outside, give it like probably a couple months, and it'll start like chipping away and getting all nasty. So even if you throw it away, the inside will still be able to decompose.
Thanks.
This is great. I've learned a lot already. Question for you around team expansion. So you showed us where you plan to be. You want to build the product. You want to get it out to market. You have great ideas about partnerships, social media. It's you and your product manager right now. Talk to us about what does that team look like for you in the next, let's say, 9 to 18 months.
So 9 to 18 months, the first thing that we're going to do is get a manufacturing partner because we want to have someone helping us large scale be building our product. We want actual like mushroom partnerships, which we already have some people right now who are talking about giving us all of the product we need to be making our cores. And then we want someone else who is on the business side to do our numbers, accounting, bookkeeping. So we're looking right now, pretty soon, expanding out for manufacturing, for the bookkeeping and all of the number side of it. We want to get our actual sponsored servers and shapers, ones who will exclusively be riding Mud Rat products. So that would probably happen after our launch is what we're projecting right now. But that's just a few of the steps that we're trying to get. Our big one is manufacturing partner right now.
Thank you.
Follow-up question for you, just two-part question. First part, why did you choose Kickstarter as your means of fundraising? And the second part of the question is, can you speak to, with your primary focus being direct-to-consumer, what that looks like from a logistics and fulfillment perspective?
Yeah, so we chose Kickstarter because just from what we've seen from our fellow startups who have used Kickstarter, it seems to be really successful. Even though for a Kickstarter campaign, you have to plan that months out. So we're looking to get into that and start planning that, start the filming process for our videos. We already have some awesome news outlets who have been filming for us and covering us. So we're going to be using some of those. That's our primary reason. And just before I even knew about crowdfunding, that was the brand that I always thought of. And that was the brand that when I was talking to people, they're like, oh yeah, Kickstarter. So I think that at least for the general consumer, that's the the most notable, at least in my opinion, that I've seen. So I think it would be the best to get our product out there first. And then could you repeat your second question, please?
Logistics and fulfillment. So you primarily indicated that you're going to be driving direct to consumer. So just logistics and fulfillment, getting the product to someone. Like, what's your plan for that?
So when we're going through our B2B first to our surf shops, we plan to sell them at a wholesale rate, and that we're going to move in a 1/3 products going to them because we do expect to see the majority of our products going online and selling throughout there. Our price, our end price, $119, is actually including our packaging that we would be using to ship our cores to the shops and online through our website. We're going to start marketing, like I said, as soon as our prototype is tested and ready, we're going to start marketing for pre-orders to get that set. And I'm not sure if that answered your question.
It does.
Okay.
One of my favorite parts of my job here at the School of Business is getting to connect with brilliant people who have developed simple and elegant solutions to a seemingly impossible challenge. And that's just what Laurent Burrows has done, together with his PhD advisor, George Bolus. They looked at the large, costly, and heavily polluting equipment needed to produce ammonia and said, there's a much better way. Their way is powered by renewable energy instead of fossil fuels. Their way can be done on a scale that allows for localized production where it is needed most, whether that is directly in farming communities or in manufacturing facilities. And their way provides an opportunity to create a significant reduction in our economy's overall carbon footprint. That's remarkable. But what I find even more remarkable is the way that Laurent has leaned into the business training available here at CCEI. He has been engaged and dedicated, embracing the ways that the world of business is different than science. He has also demonstrated early signs of being the type of entrepreneur that can not only power the technical aspects of bringing this new technology to life, but can lead them from a business perspective as well. Shortly after finishing the CCEI Summer Fellowship Program, Laurent was invited to join a specialty accelerator for complex technologies at MIT, where he continues to work on the business model. I'm so proud of the progress that he has made in the last 6 months and can't wait to see where Laurent and his business, Andros, go next.
Hi, I'm Laurent, the co-founder of Andros, a startup that's aiming to decentralize ammonia production. It's really hard to overstate the importance of ammonia in our modern life, because ammonia, quite frankly, feeds the world. Every day, 80% of the ammonia produced, it goes towards being a fertilizer to grow the food that we eat. And because of this, we are really dependent on ammonia production. If ammonia production were to stop today, half the world would actually starve because we wouldn't be able to feed the rest of the population. In America alone, 16 million tons of ammonia-based fertilizers is used every year. In this picture, we see a farmer in the growing season loading up their tractor with ammonia tanks to spread ammonia over the field. And this spreading it over the field they've done for decades. But in the last 4 years, a lot has changed for this farmer because the price of ammonia has went up over 125% in that short period of time. Farmers already operate on a very low margin of profit. And so with an increase in fertilizer like this, makes a lot of farmers actually not even profitable. Now, this increase in price has been caused by the pandemic, the war in Ukraine, and supply chain issues related around natural gas. Now, if you're asking the question, how does natural gas prices affect ammonia prices and affect my food? Now it's time for me to be a scientist and give you a little insight onto how ammonia is produced. Ammonia starts with a production using natural gas and air. This is a very simplified diagram, but the most important parts are here. So you start with natural gas and air to generate nitrogen and hydrogen to then feed that to an ammonia synthesis reactor. This is our process for producing ammonia. This has been perfected over the last few decades. And because of this, we actually end up linking natural gas prices to ammonia prices. Now, with the natural gas prices being linked to ammonia prices, once they increase, we end up with this. BASF cutting production of ammonia because natural gas prices are too high. Another large manufacturer of ammonia actually shutting down an ammonia plant because natural gas prices are too high. And this all is happening whilst farmers are looking for fertilizers for that growing season. And if a farmer can't get their fertilizer, they lose a year's worth of crop and income. We believe it all could be so simple. We could actually switch this process from natural gas and use air and water to produce ammonia. This is a process that's been developed for a while now, and it uses renewable power to power an air separation unit and a water electrolyzer to produce nitrogen and hydrogen to again feed to an ammonia synthesis reactor. With this, we believe that we could actually produce ammonia where it's needed, because air and water is a little bit more abundant than natural gas reserves that are in the southeast region of the United States. And we could actually produce ammonia near the farmers where they need it. So in states like Iowa, Illinois, and in North Dakota that needs a lot of ammonia-based fertilizers, we could set up a facility right next to that farm or very close to that farm and provide them with ammonia very close by. The value proposition of this approach is very clear. You end up with the farmers having a stable supply and price of fertilizers, as well as unmatched delivery speeds. We're right next door. For the society, we have the benefit of food security and the reduced emissions related to the fossil fuel-based ammonia production process. But there's a major technical hurdle to overcome here. This is the traditional ammonia synthesis reactor. It's pretty tall, pretty large, and pretty expensive. It operates at a very extreme pressure at 200 ATM, and because of that, it needs high-strength materials to withstand that pressure. And it also makes it very infeasible at small scales. And this is where we come in, with our small-scale reactor that operates at atmospheric pressure. This reactor is ideal for renewable power, and it reduces the synthesis cost loop quite dramatically. Here's how it works. We synthesize ammonia in 2 steps. In the first step, we essentially stick nitrogen to a catalyst, and then we flow hydrogen over that catalyst to remove that nitrogen as ammonia. We can do this and cycle between nitrogen and hydrogen to produce ammonia in steps, periodically. And just to call out this diagram, we end up producing a nitrogen loop and a hydrogen loop, and it's a callback to our actual logo. Anyway, we found that this process is 14 times better than the Haber-Bosch process at atmospheric pressure. We're able to reduce the synthesis costs by 90%, and we can do this with a low-cost catalyst. Here's how this is ideal for renewable power. You see, the sun does this weird thing at night where it goes down, and so if you're trying to power a chemical process from a variable source like renewable energy, it's pretty difficult to do. You're going to end up needing a lot of energy storage, gas storage, to keep that reactor running overnight. But in our case, because we synthesize ammonia in 2 steps, we could essentially do the low energy step at night and the high energy step during the day. This is like washing your clothes at night when the energy is cheaper. This allows us the flexibility to actually reduce the amount of storage we need, reduce the footprint size, and reduce the cost of the system. The market size for this is in the hundreds of billions of dollars, as ammonia is a very global commodity. We intend to start with the US fertilizer market, that's a $27 billion market, and intend to engage with farmers' co-ops. Because these co-ops understand that ammonia prices become volatile, they got together and they will buy ammonia in bulk for their members to save price, or cut costs. So we intend to think that we have a good solution for these co-ops. Our business model is quite simple. We make money by selling ammonia to farmers. We intend to set up facilities near those farmers with a production cost of $680 per ton, and selling the ammonia at a $1,200 per ton price, we expect to make a 51% profit margin. For those doing the math on that, it does include a $50 carbon credit and a $140 tax cut from the Inflation Reduction Act that actually incentivizes green hydrogen and ammonia production. Our competitive landscape is made up of very established companies that produce ammonia on a large scale. The scale and high pressure of their reactors cannot be matched by our reactors. Our reactors are very small scale, and we serve a very niche market for a local demand. This is a team that's going to make this happen. Myself, I'm a PhD student at UConn in chemical engineering. I have over 5 years of experience in the energy and chemical industry. I've previously worked at DT Energy. I don't do karate, but I have a Six Sigma green belt, and I intend to use it if necessary. I'm joined by my PhD advisor, Dr. George Bolus, the Pratt & Whitney Endowed Chair, Professor of Chemical Engineering at UConn, who has over 15 years of experience in advanced systems engineering. We've done a lot of work to take this from a proof of concept to prove it in the lab scale as well. And we have a lot more work to do on the development to get us from the lab scale to our first production plan. This is the full development roadmap. And for the purpose of this pitch, I'm just going to focus on our immediate fundraising goals. We're looking to raise $90,000 to rent lab space, lease equipment, and purchase raw materials to perform experiments. We're expecting in 2024 that we'll increase our reactor efficiency, reduce our catalyst cost, file a few more patents, and build our advisory board to take us to the next level. We're already making headways on that. We've secured around 40% discount on a lab space in an MIT incubator. This incubator is in a space of an ecosystem of other entrepreneurs and engineers working on very hard problems. They give us the equipment and the permitting that allows us to immediately get in and start working. It's pretty difficult to start a new lab and get permits and all these additional things to start doing experiments. But with this approach, we could get right to work. Beyond that, we've raised $30,000 in non-dilutive funding. We're participating in entrepreneurial programs at UConn, MIT, and the Department of Energy, and have built out our connections by doing that. Now I want to thank you for listening and paying attention to our vision for the future, and I will be open to any questions.
Mr. Burrows, my name is Casey. Can you tell us more about the competitive landscape? I'm curious if you're alone in the northeast quadrant, and then you've got some behemoths in industry in the other quadrant. How are you planning to go head to head with them in any way? How would they, if they're worried about you, if they get worried about you, how would they try to kill you? Not you, but the,
I have a green belt. Okay, so we are serving a very local demand. The competitors, they use the traditional Haber-Bosch reactor that's very high pressure, and because it's not economical at small scales, they essentially cannot operate at the small scale economically. They also run off of large natural gas reserves, and so you need a large pocket of natural gas. I actually have a chart for that, but you need a large pocket of natural gas reserves to be economical at a small scale as well. So we intend to work on this very niche and local demand, solving that problem. And I think we could also compete by being more flexible and opening up new facilities where new demand pops up. Our competitors right now, they use a reactor that just cannot economically compete at our scale.
And are the farmers that you're trying to sell to, I guess are they focused on the carbon advantage that you provide, or do you provide a cost advantage, or why would they want to buy from you?
Right, so I've spoken to a few farmers on this doing customer discovery interviews. They, at this point, just want a supply of ammonia that they could trust and actually get. Because it's been so difficult to get ammonia, they would actually purchase at a higher price, but they are more focused on the supply. Less focused on the carbon reduction and emissions, but more focused on getting the ammonia they need to run their operations.
Thanks.
Thank you.
What would you say is the infrastructure required that would essentially take your product? I mean, what I'm trying to get at is, if you had 100% market adoption, what does that look like nationally? Would there be reactors, across all of America, certain parts of America? What would it take really to meet today's capacity if the society was to adopt your product?
It would essentially, okay, so let's go to this chart. Great question. So the demand for ammonia is not spread equally.
Okay.
The demand is mostly in the Midwest and the West. So it wouldn't be ammonia production facilities all over the U.S. However, that could be a case as well. But most importantly, it'll be ammonia production in those areas of demand, or those pockets of demand. So places like Illinois, Wisconsin, you'll see ammonia production facilities right next to those farms or in an area that can service the farms in those areas. Right now, most of the ammonia production is done in the southeast region of the United States and essentially shipped or trucked up to those demand regions. We would be locating facilities in those demand regions and supplying that demand.
Okay. And then related to the other judge's question, what is the incentive that the government could provide that would make it maybe a little easier for your product to kind of get scale?
So the recently passed Inflation Reduction Act is pretty good as a step forward in this direction. So they have around a $300 per ton tax advantage for green ammonia that is translated from green hydrogen. So that is a good incentive that already exists. An additional one is the hydrogen hubs that are being talked about, because ammonia could be used as a hydrogen storage material. And so a lot of governments have looked at ammonia, but most of the policies are directed at hydrogen right now. And because we use hydrogen, we're just benefiting by proxy off of those new legislations around hydrogen.
Okay.
What's the difference in crop yield if you were to run a digital twin on this or something and look at classic ammonia versus yours?
Very good question, and I think that's one of the things we want to do first in our demonstration unit. Now, as a chemical engineer, I'm going to say that molecular ammonia is molecular ammonia, and they should be the same, but we are very interested in doing that on a demonstration unit to show, actually, for those farmers that this is the same ammonia, we just produce it in a different way.
Awesome. And you said the current global demand is $110 billion, is that what you said?
2030 projections, yes.
Understood. And what's the compound annual growth rate of that right now?
There's a lot of estimates on this. If you factor in the potential demand for ammonia as a green energy storage, as a maritime fuel, that compound annual growth rate is around 70%. But if we continue to move in the same direction with ammonia as it is today, we see that around 5 and 6%. Now, there's an interesting startup that's called Amogy that just raised $200 million to make ammonia a maritime fuel. So the maritime industry is driving new demand for ammonia, but it ranges.
Seeing that comparable popping up in market, how does that make you feel? As an
Excited. Excited.
Standing here today, knowing what we know and the research you've done, what is the single largest barrier to creating that first physical facility?
At this point, we want to get more comfortable with the reactor, more comfortable operating that reactor, and more confident in its ability to perform over time. So once we get past this stage of the research and development, we will immediately scale up with some contract manufacturers to start a new facility.
Thank you.
Do you see any barriers to entry in some of these key regions, like these Goliaths that you mentioned, kind of blocking you from being able to put these, even though smaller facilities, but any of those blockers in place?
Yeah, I do not believe it's going to be easy. So farmers, they purchase ammonia on a cycle, 2 years. They even purchase futures contracts out on the cycle, and they work with distributors to purchase from them directly as well. So there are two relationships we kind of have to get into before we start to successfully sell ammonia. But that's why we're looking for a business development manager and another person on our team, the executive team, who has relationships already to help us navigate that.
Thank you. Awesome presentation.
Thank you very much.
Can I? Talk to you after.
Hi, my name's Todd Langston. I'm the owner-operator for Chick-fil-A in Wallingford, Connecticut. If you don't know our brand, I can tell you there's two things about it that stand out. Number one is the remarkable food we serve. The second thing is the way we care for our guests. Now, our business has grown tremendously in the last 9 years. And when you're in business and you own a business, one of the things that you got to really keep track of is how you develop leadership capacity and how you develop systems that far outpace the ability of your growth. So if you don't do that, and you don't do that effectively, you've actually limited the growth of your business because you don't have systems that can allow it. So that's where SwipeStorm comes in the equation, and how we came across Nathan was he was on our team since he's been 16 years old. Nathan has dealt with guests and recovery issues that really were a limitation back then. And he had this gift for developing apps. He recognized this need, and he went away with that knowledge and came back with a solution that allowed us to look and track the guest experience. If we made a mistake, how to track that, how to measure what the cost of that was, and how to see it all the way through to the very end to make that guest not only, come from a place of feeling dissatisfied to actually being a raving fan because of the way we recovered them. This app actually, it catapulted our ability to do that. Not only that, but it also gave me the ability to have that visibility. Even though I'm not in the store at certain times, I can still track and see these things, which is really critical as a business owner. If I have one word to say for what this has done and the way we view it, the word would be game changer.
Awesome. Good evening, everyone. My name is Nathan Catapano, and I'm the founder of SwipeStorm. And we are creating an all-in-one mobile app to help restaurants operate more efficiently. So Todd, who you just heard from, was one of our very first customers. And he is just one of nearly 3,000 Chick-fil-A operators across the country who are experiencing very similar challenges right now. Despite representing a fraction of the country's 300,000 chain restaurant owners, these operators achieve higher sales per restaurant than any other chain. And in the last 5 years alone, they've experienced an unprecedented 54% increase in sales volume. And despite the tremendous growth, they're still using the same paper-based systems that were used when they served only 200 customers per day. With an average of nearly 2,000 customers per day, it's clear that these restaurants are simply outgrowing their standard operating procedures. You heard Todd say that if restaurants want to continue growing their businesses, they must implement systems that not only keep up with growth, but have the ability to outpace it. And unfortunately, their current systems are failing them. They're inefficient, they lack visibility, and it's limiting their growth in a time where they can't afford it. So there is no other area where this is more evident than guest recovery. Guest recovery serves as a process to offer quick recovery, excuse me. Guest recovery serves as a process to quickly restore and rectify a guest experience when something goes wrong. So the process usually starts when a guest gets home and calls the restaurant because they've realized that something was wrong with their order. And the manager will pick up the phone and handle this issue and pull out old, unreliable. And let's be honest, nothing screams, "We truly care about your experience" more than the audible shuffling of pages accompanied with a flustered, "Wait just one moment, please, I can't seem to find a pen." Now, if you're a frustrated guest, it's like rubbing salt in the wound. And it gets worse because if the guest decides to return to your restaurant after that visit, the manager pulls out the binder again and begins digging for 5 to 10 minutes to try to find the guest's order. And regardless of whether you find their name or not, you'll probably end up just giving them the food. And when you get back and you hand them that bag, you can just tell that they're probably never going to come back. So this is so expensive for restaurants, the cost of this inefficiency. 47% of customers who experienced an issue reported being dissatisfied with how the situation was resolved. And it costs 5 times more to attract a new customer than it does to retain an existing one. And it gets even worse because if your unrecovered customers decide to visit your restaurant just one less time, the cost could amount to $60,000. But people who have negative experiences share those negative experiences with 16 people on average. And if those people decide to visit your restaurant just one less time because of that negative review, your restaurant is risking $1 million in potential sales. Now, over the last 2 years, I have created the best guest recovery app. I've created the app of my dreams to make my job so much easier. So now, whenever a guest calls the restaurant, there's no more scrambling to try to find a page or a pen. You pull out your phone and you can create the complaint in 3 steps. And then, when the guest returns to the restaurant, no more scrambling to find their name. They tell you your name and you tell them, "I'm so happy you're back. Let me take care of you right now." And there's no delay. And now that we've been able to digitalize this process, we can learn so much about our operations. We can learn how much it costs to recover a customer, how much money we're spending every month to actually bring customers back into the restaurant, the number of complaints we receive, and even the who, what, where, when, and why behind your guest issues. So you can tackle the root of the problem and improve your operations. And by nature, because it's digital, it's anti-exploitation. So for the 1% of customers who try to abuse your system to get free food every month, the owners will be alerted of it and they'll be able to handle the situation accordingly. Now, we've been able to create such an incredible impact with just guest recovery, and we're not stopping there. There are so many other paper-based systems that are outdated and need innovation, and we are going to bring that innovation with an all-in-one app to help restaurants operate more efficiently. All of their processes unified into one app that we can offer incredibly powerful and actionable insights to help restaurants improve. And it gets even better for the future because once we build out the infrastructure, we can integrate into our customers' point of sale systems and sales data, and the app can tell you when the best time to run someone's break is, who can cover their break, and even tell you when the best time to close lemonades is that doesn't disrupt the guest experience. So with all of this potential, it's no surprise that restaurants are loving our app. Today, 41 Chick-fil-A restaurants are using SwipeStorm to improve their operations, 13 of which have been with us for over a year. And they're using the app and they're seeing results. Restaurants using our app over paper have seen a 27% increase in problem resolution satisfaction, and they're saving 4 hours of labor every single week. And the last few months alone, we've made incredible progress. We've discovered our true value and increased our prices from $10 a month to $50 a month. We've developed a brand new product in line with our product expansion plan, so now we can also help restaurants track and monitor food waste. And by the end of the year, based on just 41 restaurants and not our continued growth, we project monthly recurring revenue of near $3,000. So we make money pretty simply through subscriptions. Currently, we offer 2 modules that restaurants can choose from: guest issue and resolution tracking and our new food waste tracking module, and $50 a month for one module, $80 for both, and it's at 97% profit margin. So in the next 24 months, as we continue to expand our platform into other services beyond guest issue tracking, such as team accountability, training, tracking, checklist, shift management, we plan to raise our prices to offer 2 separate offerings. One where guest issue and food waste tracking have very good synergy at $80 a month, and then for a comprehensive bundle at $250 a month, which is near to what competitors charge. Now, this projection rate here to help us hit $1 million in annual run rate is based on a low 30% conversion rate on the bundle. We anticipate most restaurants going with the bundle at over 60%. And the market for this is huge. Today, we're just targeting Chick-fil-A and McDonald's restaurants because we know that we have product market fit, they're high growth, and they need our product today. But they're not the only ones suffering as they grow. There are over 300,000 chain restaurants who will need our product in the future. And as other restaurants grow and face more demand, we think that we can break into the over 1 million restaurants in the US. So on the left, today we have a $2 million annual market based on our current pricing of $50 a month and $80 a month. But in the future, at $250 a month and $80 a month, it grows to $5 million for our current target market. So today, for guest issue and resolution tracking, if restaurants aren't using paper, they're using free cookie cutter apps that just aren't doing it. They're inefficient, they're easy to break, and they take hours to customize, and they don't offer the right reporting analytics that restaurants need to actually be meaningful. And then now, as we expand our platform, we will face new competitors. The main incumbents in the industry are Visible, OneClick, and Jolt. These guys are mainly operations focused, which we are developing, but they're not focused on the analytics side, the predictive analytics side, and essentially assistant manager in your pocket. Now for the team, so far to this point, I've built SwipeStorm by myself. I have a background in coding, and I've been managing a restaurant for over 5 years. But I understand that if I want to take this to the $1 million business that I want it to be, I won't be able to do it alone. So over the past few months, I've been working hard to find the right team members, and I found them. So soon, we will be bringing on marketing and sales and customer success. This will help so I can focus on product and development and working with our tech teams. and they can focus on customer acquisition, making sure that they're supported and collecting feedback from them. So we are in October today fundraising to help fund our expansion for marketing and our team. And in November, we will be bringing on our team members and start our customer growth now that we'll have a team member who will be able to solely focus on expansion. So beginning in 2024, we will start development of a new module. So we have guest issue tracking, food waste tracking, and then next we'll be starting checklists. And as we continue growing, we are going to work on integrations to be able to help and acquire more data from their current systems to make our app more powerful. And then we will begin in Q3 of 2024 expanding beyond Chick-fil-A into other restaurants through connections that we have. And at the end of 2024 and the beginning of 2025, we will relaunch with our new products and pricing so that way we can compete directly with these guys here, and our customers will be able to switch over without losing the features that they depend on today. And 2025 will be spent getting to our goal of 700 restaurants as we work on customer acquisition. So we can go more into this in the Q&A potentially, since I'm not sure how much time we're at. But today we're at 41 restaurants, and with the growth of our team, we will be able to expand our operations to 700 restaurants by the end of 2025. And at our current prices, as you can see in green, this will result in $200,000 and around $500,000 in annual run rate based on the current prices. And then in the future prices at 700 restaurants, assuming 60% conversion onto our bundle plan, we could reach close to $2 million in annual run rate. So as I stand in front of you today, we are seeking $25,000 in funding to help our product development, hiring key staff, and actually scaling so that way we can achieve $1 million in annual run rate within 24 months. So we plan to use $15,000 on product development. This will help fund our tech teams, which we are currently working with, and $7,500 for a marketing budget so we can work on ads to see what works and what doesn't work in expanding beyond Chick-fil-A. And I welcome questions on our customer acquisition strategy. And $2,500 gives us 12 months of operating buffer, worst case scenario. So I hope that you will join us today in helping restaurants achieve their next greatest level of success. Thank you.
Well, you set it up nicely. Talk to us about the customer acquisition. How are we going to go from current to the 700?
Yeah, so right now to this point on how we actually got to the 41 restaurants that we are is Chick-fil-A is very big into Facebook groups. If you work in a restaurant, they have a Facebook group from everything from marketing directors to directors of operations, future franchise owner, financial stewardship. So we've been in those Facebook groups talking about our product, and they just love it. We get hundreds of comments whenever we make a post saying, sign me up. And it's been tough for me by myself to work on actually getting them onboarded, but we are getting the right team in place to be able to do that. So that's on the Chick-fil-A side. We've actually figured that out. That works as a pretty good engine. Referrals inside, they all visit each other and like, what awesome things do you do that can help our restaurant? We use this, and then that's how we've gotten more customers as well. Expanding beyond Chick-fil-A's market that we're still figuring out. We have connections in some other chain restaurants, one of them being McDonald's, and we are working on getting into the Wallingford McDonald's. And we're hoping that that connection will help us expand into that restaurant industry. But then we also have more connections that are like, oh, I know somebody who runs a restaurant who needs this, so we're going to work on making sure that we can fit their needs and we have the best product for them.
Great.
And a follow-up, do you have a sense yet of your cost of sales?
The cost of sales for acquiring a new customer?
Yeah.
We do not have a great sense on what it is. Research estimates around $250 to acquire a B2B customer, but we've been mainly trying to do the cost-effective way of free posts on Facebook groups, networking. So we will still be discovering that, but it's something that we are very much into because it's going to be very impactful.
Can you talk to me a little bit about just your team? Is everyone going to be working on this full time?
They will not be working on this full time, at least in the beginning. They're going to start, because they have other jobs right now, so they're going to start with as much time as they have to be able to continue growing. But as we show more and more success, they will be able to dedicate more and more time.
So they'll be fractional with equity on the cap table?
Yeah.
And are you full-time on this?
Yeah. Well, I'm also an undergrad, but technically, yes. I would consider myself more full-time than undergrad, but yes.
So the restaurant industry has changed a lot, as you know, over the last 5 to 10 years. And a lot of restaurants aren't even taking the orders themselves. They've partnered with various delivery companies. I'm thinking Uber Eats, DoorDash, etc. So rather than going, one by one to various restaurants trying to convince managers to adopt your product, have you thought about just approaching some of these delivery partners who already have networks with various restaurants all across the country and saying, hey, DoorDash, hey, whatever delivery partner, we can help you reduce your error rates, your delivery, make it more efficient. And if you get adoption there, you already have access to, who knows, thousands of restaurants just off of, a few meetings. Has that been part of your acquisition strategy?
It has not been a part of our acquisition strategy, but I'll tell you why. So for DoorDash, when you purchase your order through DoorDash, you become a customer of DoorDash, no longer the restaurant itself. So if there's an issue with the order, you'll have to take it up with DoorDash customer support. It's out of the restaurant's hands.
Okay.
So our product is mainly focused on the restaurant side when customers call the restaurant directly. And they don't have a tool in place right now better than paper or a cookie cutter app to actually track these issues. So for someone like DoorDash or Uber Eats, they probably use a company like ServiceNow, a ticketing system to use. And then similarly, for if you call the corporate lines, they have a similar system for ServiceNow where they will track issues and then send you free food. So we're filling the gap in the restaurant where they just don't have a tool in place.
Okay.
What's that? Two questions. One is, what's your tech stack built in?
Tech stack is iOS. So we are fully on the iOS platform, which works right now really well because all Chick-fil-A locations have iPads that they use. And so it's an app that they just have on their manager station, similar to a Podium, and then they just pull out the iPad or they pull out their phones. So we understand that that's a limitation because managers, the great part about having an app is you can have it on your phone and you can quickly hide away in the corner, search their name, be like, oh, thank you so-and-so for coming back, let's take care of you. But not everybody has an iPhone. So we do have plans to develop an Android version to expand, and then also a web app in the slightly longer term beyond Android for mainly the reporting and analytics side for the operators.
So it's a native application at the site, customer site. What's the cloud technology that's storing the data?
Yeah, we're using the Google Cloud.
Okay, great. So it'll scale infinitely, basically.
Yeah, it's all scalable from here.
Awesome. And last question is, have you looked at point of sale systems as a potential competitive solution given all the recent chatter that's been happening with small business recently?
I have not seen point of sales as a competitor because I think they're more focused on different operational aspects like inventory management, order taking, order processing for the kitchen. So, but the way I have thought about POS systems, especially for the 1 million smaller restaurants outside of the chain restaurants, is they rely on Toast and many other point of sale systems. So to be able to integrate directly into there, I think would be a huge win and an easy access point into all of these other restaurants. So that's something that we've considered.
So you don't think that Toast would go and start to see that you've landed 700 restaurants and that there's strong margins there and just add that feature set?
Yeah, I don't think they'll be able to. I mean, they could for just one product, but we're going beyond that. We want to house checklists, your disciplinary notice, your training tracking, and that way you can measure all the aspects of your business and then take it a step beyond, which is going to be our main focus on the data side, to be able to have predictive analytics that can essentially serve as an assistant manager in your pocket. And I don't think they're not going for the data side, they're mainly focused on the operations side. So I don't think they would spend the resources trying to compete on that.
Right. So you're moving into the customer experience management space once you nail this particular product market fit.
Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Charlene Jacobs. I'm a nurse practitioner and I've been working in healthcare for about 17 years. and I've cared for hundreds of women with women's health issues such as infertility, fibroids, menopause, irregular periods, and much more. I have extensive experience in nursing education and nursing research as well. And I've known Christina for over 20 years, and I've watched her career excel into a fully fledged, creative, and innovative entrepreneur. She was always creative, fashionable. She always had this great entrepreneurial spirit, but was always conscious driven. So when she came to me to talk about her product Pure, I thought it was really interesting that she found through her research that our underwear can actually cause a lot of women's health issues. And it made me do some of my own research as well, especially as a Black woman, but also working with Black women who deal with women's health issues on a larger scale. So I thought that her product Pure was actually something that was great and innovative to hit a market that would help her or help Black women take charge of their health, especially when you're dealing with the most intimate parts of your body, with the most intimate clothing that you would ever wear that's held closest to you. So I think that this product was something that should be brought to market and people should know more about it. And it's very important that we tackle Black women's health issues head on from the things that are most near and dear to them.
Did you know that we are currently in the middle of a Black maternal health crisis? Right now in this country, Black women are battling feminine health issues at an alarming rate. In fact, according to the CDC, Black women are twice as likely to experience reproductive issues such as fibroids, infertility, or hormone imbalances more than any other race. Black women are also 3 times more likely to die of pregnancy-related complications than any other race. Well, many of these can be associated to socioeconomic factors, meaning Black women traditionally don't have access to adequate health care, or racial biases in the healthcare system. But what if I told you there's another reason? A silent threat hidden beneath our clothing, affecting our health. Would you believe me if I told you that threat is in our underwear? Hello, everyone. My name is Christina Phillips, and I'm the founder of Pure. And I spent over 15 years of my career working in the manufacturing industry, selling products from home textiles to eyewear. I also spent 6 years running my own business, Marina Net, a women's clothing line. And during that time, I developed product design, worked with manufacturing companies, and I developed a passion. However, in 2017, things took a change for me when I developed fibroids. Now, my battle with fibroids led me on a discovery mission to understand what caused it, but also how to get rid of it. And upon my research, I came across some startling information that I wasn't ready for. The toxic chemicals used in the manufacturing of our underwear, such as pesticides, chlorinated solvents, and formaldehyde, have been linked to feminine health issues like reproductive issues, fibroids, and cancer. Now, to give you a little bit more information on how this actually works, the chemicals are actually added into the fabric stages. And as you see from this chart, basically showing the flow of how the manufacturing process works, at each stage of the process, there is a toxic chemical inserted that is linked back to a reproductive health issue. So by the time we get to the end of the manufacturing cycle, we are left with a beautiful pair of radioactive underwear. This is a problem. So much so that lawmakers are starting to create regulations about this now. In 2022, California passed the AB 1817 bill, which bans the use of PFAs in underwear, and PFAs in textiles as well as cosmetics. Why? Because they're linked to reproductive issues and cancer. Also, in 2022, Thinx settled a $5 million class action lawsuit due to the use of PFAs in their underwear, in their period panties. This issue was such a huge problem for me that I decided to take action, which is why I developed Pure. Pure is a sustainable intimate apparel brand committed to creating underwear made of non-toxic chemicals. Our focus is to revolutionize the way Black women care for themselves by prioritizing our feminine health and combating related issues. At Pure, we offer 3 key solutions to our customers. First is safe for the body. Our products are made of natural fabrications free of toxic chemicals. It's both comfortable and fashionable. We are focused on key fit solution, colors, and sizes. And lastly, it promotes wellness. We are on a mission to create a movement to help educate our customers about these common feminine health issues that are affecting the community. At Pure, our target customer are Black women ages 25 to 45 years old with high disposable income right now and reside in New York and Connecticut. These customers can be characterized as either health conscious, environmentally conscious, or early adopters, meaning they typically like trying new products and sharing their reviews with their peers. While assessing this market, I saw great potential. Our total available market for this segment, if every woman in the United States bought a pair or made a purchase, it would equate to about $6 billion right now. Our service available market, if we scale down to our target market, would equate to about 660 million, which would be about 21 million units. Now, based on the market landscape right now, I think we have the potential to capture about 5% of the market share, which would equate to about $6 million right now. The intimate apparel industry was estimated at $80 billion in 2021, and it's anticipated to reach about $98 billion in 2023. However, sustainable intimates only account for about 2.5% of that market. Why? Because this market is generally slow to change, but also has very little regulations. However, there are a few companies making strides in the intimate organic space. Hoo-Ha, Nikki, Pact, and Booty are all companies who we see as our competitors right now. And this chart basically shows our Pure's value propositions align with some of these other companies. And as you can see, many of these companies fall short of some of the key solutions that our customers are looking for in our product, such as fit solutions, feminine health education, and also that we target Black women. So this gives us an advantage. Our competitive advantage would be our fit solutions. We are creating products that are tailored to the fit of the body types for our customers. We are targeting Black women because this is such a large-scale issue that in order for us to tackle it, we have to help the group that is the most challenged at this point. And then we can gradually help other women. And the feminine health education. Partnering with key healthcare professionals and organizations will help us continue to drive the information and education to our customers about these health issues. Here is our business model. We will start with our product categories, such as panties selling at $25 and bra at $40, and then we'll move on into maternity, men's, and kids. Our distribution strategy will be direct-to-consumer, selling on our company website, as well as hosting various physical pop-ups around the city and state. And eventually, we hope to get retail placement in Nordstrom, maybe Bloomingdale's, Saks Fifth Avenue. These retailers would be great for our particular product. And our marketing strategy. Incorporating our social media strategy, brand partners, influencer marketing, as well as a strenuous digital marketing strategy will really help us drive this brand. Here are our projections. We anticipate being able to reach 230,000 in sales by year 2026. Now, please keep in mind that we are actually launching the business in August of 2024. So we anticipate we'll be able to break even by Q1 of 2025 at a little under 2,000 units sold. Here's a timeline of our progression. We started this business concept, I started this business concept in February of 2023, this year, and I plan to launch in August 2024. Right now, I'm in the product development phase, where I'm working on the product fit, working on sourcing fabric, but also working on finding strategic manufacturing partners to help with this product. My goal is to find partners that have a sustainability process right now in place, as well as have the same core values and certifications that we need right now for our product. Here is a overview of our collection. Right now, we're just showcasing about 8 styles here, which we're still working on fits and development, but we hope to scale down to about 5 styles to go to market. As you can see, we have an assortment of styles, but also inclusive colors, which are very important to our customers right now. Now here's our ask. In order to get this business off the ground, we will need $150,000 in startup costs, which will cover our manufacturing costs, business overhead, our e-commerce site. We already raised $20,000 in funding so far, and if we are awarded the $25,000 from this competition, we'll use it directly to our manufacturing and our product development. Well, I hope you have seen the scale of this problem and realize how urgent it is for us to bring Pure to market. Thank you, and I'll take any questions. Feel free to scan our QR code if you want to follow on our journey. Thank you.
Well, thank you for bringing this information up. I didn't know a lot of this, so thank you for that, number one. I saw on your the mapping, the education of consumers is something that you do and you will do, and I think that that is extremely important. My question's around projected scale and sales. You mentioned pop-ups being one of the ways that you plan to get the product out initially. Talk to us about anticipated scale there. What do you expect to be able to sell at pop-ups before you get into retailers such as Nordstrom, as you said?
Well, for pop-ups, for one, it's a good way for us to get in front of our customers. So being able to go to different pop-ups, we'll get a lot more foot traffic and really customers to really understand our brand. We're looking for repeat customers that way. Meeting us at a pop-up, they'll see our products, they'll get in, feel and touch it, and then they'll come back later on to shop on our site. So we're hoping to just being able to gauge and bring them to gauge customers and then bring them as leads to our site later on.
That's a really good presentation. This is an exciting product. What do the companies that are making intimate wear with traditional chemical processes gain by using those chemicals? Or what do you stand to lose by not using those chemicals?
Well, traditionally, they use these chemicals they gain nicer looking underwear, flexible fit. It's all about comfort and attributes, being able to bring a solution to the customer for various things, convenience. For us, we do lose the aspect of being able to do certain styles. We can't do every fashionable. We can't do lace, polyester lace, or seamless. We'll have to come up with innovative ways to do that. I'm already working on figuring out a way to do an eco-friendly seamless underwear, which uses a little less polyester, because polyester, of course, is petroleum-based, and we don't want to use that. Even bras. Right now, I'm working on solutions to use more eco-friendly padding for bras, something that can give a solution to the body, like castor oil cups, which are usually good for breaking up lumps in the breast, which could be an added attribute to the product.
Thanks.
I noticed that you have a TikTok and Instagram on the page here. Have you put anything out in market to just start to gauge response from your prospective customers?
Absolutely. So my social media strategy started a few months ago, and the goal is to continue to educate the customers, let them know about the problem, let them know about the different types of underwear issues, to help just gain momentum for the brand before we launch, but also just sticking with the education portion of our brand, making sure that we are putting this out there and customers are really understanding this problem.
Have you considered alternative forms of fundraising through like a crowd-based type of thing, given the demand?
Yes, I've definitely been looking into that. I didn't put it on here right now because I'm still just kind of understanding the landscape of it. But yes, that is one of the ways we are continuing we're thinking of doing more fundraising. I've done a Kickstarter before. I understand the process in my previous business. So it's a fun process. It's a hit or miss. So I have to really understand exactly or come up with a plan exactly what we plan to gain and also what we're going to give in return for it. So
yeah, given the product and clearly the needs that you've described, so thank you for the great presentation. Can you talk a little bit about just other ways to monetize the business, like subscription or those types of things, like looking at some of the other models, like a Third Love or those kinds of brands? Like, have you thought about that as a monetization method?
Absolutely. I think down the line, a subscription model would be a great idea for us. Right now, I'm going to focus on just understanding, because of the price point, it could be a little prohibitive with this customer. So just really understanding what the price wiggle room I have first, and then bringing in a subscription. But also, I don't want to make it too prohibitive. You want to make it, if they want to buy one underwear, 2 pairs of underwear, I want to make it easy for them. So the subscription model will probably be a little later on, but once we get a feel for what they're into, then we can make adjustments.
How about thank you for that. I appreciate that answer. How about the lifespan of the product, just given that it doesn't have all those crazy chemicals that make things magical?
Well, the lifespan is actually pretty good, because I'll be using organic cotton, which is, the only difference is it's not treated with any pesticides or any kind of chemicals. The dyes are non-reactive. They're actually not non-toxic dyes, which they're not vegetable dyes, but they're reusing any dyes that are not used a specific toxic chemical. So it's not really different from a regular cotton underwear, except that it's no chemicals.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the answers.
No problem.
I understand today the product is largely direct to consumer, but how do you see the medical community being an agent in what you're trying to achieve?
Well, using them to help me with a platform. Right now, I'm in the process with my social media, starting a Facebook group, having specific healthcare professionals help me with education, bringing, helping me with blog posts, or just speaking to the community about issues will really help me drive the message. When it comes to the physical distribution, probably not, but also it could help them maybe talking to their patients about what's happening, giving samples. That's something that we're looking into doing as well. But honestly, right now, they're really helping with the education portion and really just understanding what the customer is looking for.
Okay.
Talk to us about the team. You are a team of one powerful individual.
So team.
Yes.
Actually, I have a product development tech designer who's helped me with the product development side as well as, and I'm also looking to hire more people down the line. Like I said, I've done this before. We were a lean, mean team of 2. However, I understand the difficulties of running a business by yourself and how important it is to outsource things that you're not an expert in. And I am big on that. I know my capabilities if I know that I am not a CFO, so I'm going to make sure that I have someone to help me with the financials, have someone help with the marketing strategies, even digital marketing. That's important. That's a whole job in itself, and it's important that we outsource those important jobs. So I'll be looking for more contract-based employees to make sure we do specific projects, but then also bring in some coordinators to help with the everyday running of the business until we go full-time.
You mentioned that your beachhead is direct-to-consumer. Can you talk a little bit about just what you're seeing in market from a CAC to LTV perspective, just given the predominantly low price point that you're going to be offering?
Well, I don't think my price point is pretty low, actually. I think it's actually pretty higher than the market. It's right in the middle of the market. So I think right now, I think we're kind of smack. Can you repeat the question one more time?
Yeah.
The LTV.
Yeah, so your customer acquisition cost and then the lifetime value of the customer, just trying to understand how those two kind of Libra scales balance each other out, given what it's going to cost for you to acquire that Black woman customer, beachhead direct to consumer, and then what the lifetime value you think of that customer will be worth to you, how many pairs of underwear or that sort of thing you can maintain over time.
Yeah, well, I think for our model of building that community, our lifetime value, we'll be able to acquire a customer at a very low rate, especially with our direct-to-consumer. If we build enough momentum and we leverage social media, for us to convert a lead wouldn't be honestly that expensive. However, yeah, I don't think it would be that expensive. However, that whole having our customer come back, I think is all about the product and how they feel about it, and also just building that connection with them and a partnership.
So what I'm hearing is organic social media, so just doing manual outreach as opposed to going more of a paid kind of meta approach.
A little bit of both.
Okay.
I think we doing a paid strategy as well as going out and outreaching. Like I said, I'm starting this process now so that I can gain momentum, get that, and also word of mouth.
Awesome.
One good thing about this customer, as I mentioned, they're early adopters and influencers. They're generally quicker to try new brands and new products and also share their information with their peers. So I'm relying on that to really help me drive this message and also push the product.
Awesome. Great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Hello, my name is Keith Pennington, and I'm an assistant professor of management and entrepreneurship here at UConn. I've known Particle N since I was their mentor last year in the IQ program, and I'm excited to introduce them to you today. I'm a former engineer and entrepreneur myself, and Particle N gets both those parts of me excited. It's a cool technology and a huge potential as a business. Now, Reiner won't talk about it this way, but Particle N is a lot to me like the business pursuits of ancient alchemists, and they're making more gold. Now, the modern economy, we have metals a lot more valuable than gold, like rhodium and iridium. And the reason these metals are valuable is because they're used as catalysts in chemical reactions. Catalysts work by their surface area speeding up reactions, so it's usually sold as fine a powder as you can get to increase the surface area. Particle N is really groundbreaking here. They have a unique process where they make the powder with the same surface area, but by coating nanoparticles, so the middles of these little bits aren't wasted precious metal, which saves a ton in material cost. As an engineer, this is exciting, more than alchemy would be, because it's real. They're really doing this. It's cool. As a venture creating value for customers, this is obvious. They already have customers lining up. As Reiner will explain, the raw material cost of catalyst metal is a big moving part in the costs of a bunch of different industries. Cutting out the wasted middle of these little bits of powder has the potential to save their customers tons of money. So I see a huge realistic market here. This is a great startup at UConn. I'm proud to introduce, and I wish them the best of luck.
Precious metal catalysts play a critical role in our lives every day. They're used to accelerate chemical reactions that act as the heart of many important processes. They purify our gasoline and make pharmaceuticals, but there's a surging demand for them for their specific use in sustainable technologies. Precious metal catalysts make biofuels, they power green hydrogen energy, and remove toxic emissions inside of our catalytic converters. However, the precious metals that are used to make these catalysts are among the rarest elements you can find on Earth. Take iridium, for example. There's only 9 tons of it produced each year, and over the last 3 years, its price has almost tripled. This was driven by demand for catalysts from the hydrogen industry, who also expects to need 160% of the total iridium supply by 2040. There's an extreme supply shortage on the horizon, and we're solving this with nanotechnology. With Particle N's core shell technology, we're creating the new industry standard to manufacture precious metal catalysts that drastically saves on cost and precious metal. The current catalysts used have a solid structure that's made up entirely of precious metal. But since chemical reactions only happen on its surface, this leaves 70% of its precious metal interior unused. The total unused precious metal from catalysts accounts for about 42% of the entire precious metal supply. But Particle N can eliminate that waste. Our core shell technology replaces that expensive precious metal interior with a low-cost material that doesn't sacrifice any performance. In doing so, our catalysts use only 30% of the precious metal content, which essentially triples the usable precious metal supply for catalysts. This not only avoids that oncoming supply shortage, but it lowers the cost of catalysts significantly. We're cutting the cost of catalysts in half. Compared to the solid structured catalysts made by large corporations like BASF and Clariant Catalysts, just to name a few, none of them can compete with us on price or precious metal content. Our catalysts deliver the same performance and come in the same nanopowder form. And that means that customers can use our catalysts in the same way as the current ones using their existing machinery. Another similarity we share, however, is that we're positioned as a manufacturer and supplier of precious metal catalysts. Using our in-house built machine that houses our proprietary manufacturing process, we'll only sell 2 products at first: platinum catalyst and iridium catalyst. The current market price for platinum catalyst sits at $347 a gram. Oh, it's supposed to be in there. And iridium's market price is $850 per gram. We'll be selling our catalysts for half of both of their costs. Our iridium catalyst goes for $425 a gram, and our platinum catalyst for $175. We can do this because it only costs us $55 to make 1 gram of platinum catalyst, which again will sell for $175 a gram. And our iridium catalyst costs only $135 to sell it for $425. Even though we're priced at a 50% market discount, we're left with a 68% profit margin. The customers we're targeting are the ones most heavily affected by high catalyst costs. First target would be hydrogen fuel cell manufacturers, where 20% the cost of a fuel cell comes directly from these catalysts. And also catalytic converter manufacturers, where catalysts account for 80% the cost in a catalytic converter. Both of these industries have struggled hard with the high costs, and they've been desperately looking for a solution like ours. We'll be leading with the US hydrogen catalyst market, which is valued at around $150 million. And from there, we'll tap into the global hydrogen catalyst market, worth around $600 million. We also plan on expanding into the automotive catalyst market, which is by far the largest, sitting at $17.2 billion. But because of the sheer size of this market, in order to enter it, we'll be licensing out our technology to our competitor catalyst corporations. We've made a lot of progress so far in developing our product. We've successfully made our platinum and iridium catalyst samples, And that's an image of our platinum catalyst sample under a TEM microscope. Our small-scale production machine is fully functional and makes our catalyst samples currently for us. And this is what the sample of catalyst looks like when it comes out of the machine. Our latest success, however, has been the strong customer interest from fuel cell manufacturers at hydrogen events. There's 4 companies who are interested in buying samples from us as soon as we have production capacity. In total, these samples are worth over $1 million in sales for us. More than that, one of those same companies, also after successful sample trials, wants to buy recurring monthly orders of 2 kilograms of our product, which in total is worth upwards of $4 million in annual sales for us. We already have such a strong demand, so how are we going to get to market? To get to market, we need to finish pilot phase, and that consists of getting patent protection and also getting new lab space. With that new lab space, we'll set up our production machine to reach production level output. We also need to get an industrial hydrogen certification for our catalyst samples, which we'll do through UConn's Clean Energy Center. And that certification is the industry standard for catalyst development in the hydrogen space. So around the end of Q2 next year, all of these items will be checked off, and we'll finish the pilot phase to enter our production phase in Q3 of 2024. During the first year of production, we're expecting sales of around $2 million. And our break-even point is only 3 months into operations, so in Q4 of 2024, we'll start reinvesting our profits into further scaling and optimizing production. For that next year, we can at least triple output and target sales upwards of $6 million. Our third year of operations, starting in Q3 of 2026, assuming we can only triple output again, is around $20 million in sales. However, we believe that over $100 million in sales is attainable. Additionally, towards the end of 2026 is around that same time we expect to start licensing out our technology to other catalyst manufacturers. This won't be an easy feat, but we believe we have the right team to get there. My name is Rainer Reichenberger, and I'm the co-founder and business manager of Particle N, and I've had 2 previous venture experiences. Al-Qassani is the founder and inventor behind Particle N's core shell technology, and he's a chemical engineering PhD student under President Merrick. He's also patented 2 other inventions of his. Michael Dunn is also in chemical engineering, and he's worked previously with catalysts in the hydrogen industry and the Department of Energy. We're all extremely excited to bring our technology to the world. But in order to succeed, we need $115,000. This will go towards paying for patent protection and receiving the industrial hydrogen certification. We'll also be buying parts for the machine, and as well as materials for production and additional lab equipment. With that money, we can get to production and make those first sales. We'd love for you to join us as we commercialize Particle N's core shell technology today to advance the sustainable catalysts for tomorrow. Thank you. And I'd also like to invite up the rest of the team to help out with those questions. Bring this.
What's the contingency plan if a few of the competitors don't adopt? Would you actually go out to try and do this on your own?
At first, we're doing it on our own. Like, we have a great team. Mike is a chemical engineer. I'm a chemical engineer. Rainer has experience in engineering as well. And he recently switched to business to fit in better in the business world. And I think that we are a great match. We work together like brothers. So that's the way that we're going to be entering the market.
And this technology has, the core shell technology has been pursued by these large corporations as well. However, they haven't been able to use their core shell technology in a way that is commercially viable. And that's what we're doing. So there's huge potential, and the other competitors and industries see it as well.
Can you tell us more about why they can't seem to make this approach work, your competitors?
That's for you.
So this is our technology that I came up with, and I've been working on this technology for 5 years. But before getting here and working in Clean Energy Center in UConn, I had no confidence that there's a real implementation for this technology. And in Clean Energy Center, C2E2, we're working with a lot of industry partners like NIL, Hydrogen, Hyaxium, and by the way, like Connecticut is a hub of renewable energy in the whole nation. We have the greatest renewable energy companies here, and they all have researches to do, and we take care of most of them at UConn. And through that, I realized that all these companies are struggling with high costs of those catalysts. And one other interesting story that I can share here is how did we get all those customers? So one day, we invited all of those industry partners at UConn. We had a seminar, and they were talking about their latest findings and their latest technologies. And the interesting part was that they were all, almost all of them were complaining about the high cost of the catalyst. So we started to reaching out to them one by one and telling that, hey, we have a solution for your high cost of the catalyst. And they were all excited, and they were like, hey, do you have a sample that we can buy? And we were like, sorry, we're not there yet, but soon enough. So we were still continuing our talk with them, and we are keeping our connections. And as soon as we are in a level that we can have a product, they're willing to try our samples.
I'd like to add something to that. So I know the Department of Energy, or National Labs, was working on this for around 20 years, trying to make this core shell technology commercially viable. However, recently, I'm not sure how recent, but one of the lead scientists passed away. And another difference is we took the approach of looking where nobody else was. And I guess the rest is trade secret.
I love that. So am I hearing correctly that there's two avenues to profit here? One would be off of selling the catalyst that you create, and the other is licensing the technology. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Right. And then do you expect which of the two avenues to take off at this time? If you had to look at your magic ball, what would it tell you?
At this time, it would most definitely be actually selling the catalyst to the companies who are seeking it, like the hydrogen fuel cell manufacturers. And that's where the team's expertise lies. It's in the hydrogen industry and not so much the catalytic converter industry. So yes, we'll be licensing out for the other various catalyst use cases. And yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
You mentioned you have strong interest from 4 different companies. Do you have letters of intent with those companies, or they've just verbally expressed interest?
It was all verbal at events, but they were interested enough to share with us exactly how much they would want, when they would want it, what payment plans would look like. And so, yes, we'll convert those into LOIs once we're ready, though.
Send them a DocuSign. What happens to the world when we run out of iridium? You mentioned there's a shortage in play right now.
That's a good question.
You answered it. So that's a huge concern for Department of Energy. Last week they put another $8 or $9 billion for solving issues like that. And they're hugely investing in these kind of technologies that can save them iridium and platinum, because those concerns are like national security concerns. And I believe that there is a huge concern about that in the government level. So with technologies like us, we can reduce the demand for those metals, and that is the only solution that we can provide. So in order to answer your question more specifically, like they are asking all these hydrogen companies to reduce the amount of iridium that they're putting in their machines per kilogram of hydrogen. And that level is going down almost every year. And right now, like, they have to like cut 90% of the iridium that they're using to get to that level. And those companies are saying, hey, we can do this unless like there's a new technology that can solve this problem.
So can you articulate just like what the second order effects are if they're not able to solve that problem, just so you make the stakes a little bit higher for us here?
Essentially, they're not going to allow that to happen. The hydrogen industry and the other industries are banking on technologies like ours to reduce the need for these precious metals. So they sort of put all their eggs in one basket to count on technologies avoiding this, the situation of running out completely. So if it did run out and the supply could not meet the demand, that would be very bad. Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Hi, my name is Sally Reese. I'm the former Vice Provost and Board of Trustees Distinguished Professor at the University of Connecticut, and I've had the incredible opportunity to work with the team that developed Feel Your Best Self. I was happy to support the original idea with a development grant from a foundation with which I work, and I've watched with joy and pride and amazement as Sandy and Emily have developed this outstanding idea. Think of this, right now, it's estimated that 75% of students have experienced severe anxiety in school, and 30% having had anxiety during the last 14 days. Everyone's talking about the anxiety that students are facing today, but few people have done anything about it. And Sandy and Emily set out to change this using research and expertise across two of UConn's most successful programs, EdPsych, Educational Psychology, and Puppetry. Feel Your Best Self began during the pandemic as a way to address the emotional challenges faced by children. The team developed puppets that teach a simple emotion-focused coping strategies to calm themselves, to help kids connect with others and catch their feelings, understand their feelings. Over the last couple of years, the project evolved into a national complete toolkit, and it has won several big awards. So enjoy learning more about this incredible work that the team has done, Sandy and Emily, and listen as Nico and CJ and Mino bring emotional well-being to kids across the world. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Take a quick stretch, although not too quick, because not too long, because I know it's between me and your bedtime. When kids don't feel well in everyday moments and about life overall, they don't perform well. We see it in school, in sports, in work, and continuing to adult life. And as you heard from Dr. Reese, it's not just a few kids who are struggling emotionally right now, it's a lot of kids, and it's young kids who can't cope with everyday situations. So much so that a U.S. Prevention Task Force has recommended that every child age 8 and older be screened for anxiety. Educators that we've spoken to have told us they can't keep up with the emotional challenges that they're seeing. Caregivers need simple tools to help kids feel their best self. My name is Sandy. I am a psychologist with over 2 decades of experience researching mental health and well-being. I'm here with my partner, Emily, who has lots of experience in puppetry education, and together we offer a joyful solution. Welcome to Feel Your Best Self. Our team used our expertise in emotion regulation to sort out what's been proven to work time and time again by the best researchers and clinicians in emotion science. We mapped the mechanisms in emotion coping into 3 categories, and we picked out 12 intervention strategies that could be taught really simply. And we gave them really catchy titles like Shake Out the Yuck, I know you're thinking what that means now, and Turn the Dial. And then we added puppetry. This is Nico, one of our 3 main puppet friends. Together, CJ, Nico, and Mina help each other use the strategies to navigate those everyday life situations. Why puppetry? Well, puppetry, aside from being fun, it creates a relaxed and playful environment. It brings creativity and joy and imagination into the learning environment. We have put together a freely accessible online toolkit that has these videos with our friends and lots more. And since our launch, about a year ago, Feel Your Best Self has taken off. In addition to winning multiple Kids Entertainment Awards and being profiled in national media stories, our content, our video content, has been non-exclusively licensed to WNET to incorporate in their kids programming for kids. In addition, our reach has really extended globally. And it's this that has created the fuel for our business. It's the requests that we've gotten for physical materials to support what we've got in that online content. Users are asking us for even more materials. So here we go. We're starting our business by launching with 3 main product lines. The first are storybooks for each of the 12 strategies so that you can learn them on the go, and offering great extension of the content to an even younger audience. The second is our facilitator kits for classrooms and caregiving settings. Think posters and strategy cards and games, lots of fun things. And the third is our puppet making kits to bring creativity and imagination so you can make your own friend to practice the strategies with. It's been really exciting for us to hear from users around the country who have told us how much they like Feel Your Best Self. Like Erin over here, a 2nd grade dual language teacher who tells us that the strategies work for her students as well as herself. Or Jim, our elementary principal, who says he sees students walking around using the strategies and being able to cope more effectively with their emotions. We've interviewed dozens and dozens of users around the country, around different settings and grades, who tell us that Feel Your Best Self fills a unique and important gap in their current practices. And our survey data agree. Over 90% of our users tell us that they agree that Feel Your Best Self, they like it, it's easy to use, and it works. Now, you might be wondering about the market for these types of products and these things. So there are about 85 programs in the kindergarten to 6th grade space that teach social emotional learning skills. But if you dig any deeper in them, very, very few actually teach these types of emotion skills. There's a lot of emphasis on the social space. So, and then when you do look at all of those programs, they're pretty expensive to put in place. You're talking about days of planning or professional training costing thousands of dollars in materials and then staffing resources to get up to speed in using them. Here's a table that shows 3 of the more prominent programs that are used in schools today that do have more of a focus on the emotion skills, so you can see where Feel Your Best Self fits. We have unique advantages in terms of being having an accessible cost and ease of use, but we think our secret strengths or our unique strengths lie in the fun and creativity that we bring to learning. It should be fun to do this stuff. And also then the extension across caregiving settings, home, school, and community collaboration. Kids and adults alike like using Feel Your Best Self together. In terms of the market size, there are about 55 million elementary students in the United States. There are about 2 million elementary teachers, counselors, or school psychologists. About half of them report using some sort of social emotional learning program right now. In looking at our existing contacts with districts around the country, we believe we're estimating about 2,000 early adopters in the first 12 months of sales. Like Eben here, an elementary principal who tells us and everyone else that they should use Feel Your Best Self for a lot of different reasons. We can secure these early adopters because we are not starting from scratch. We've been out with the freely available online content for over a year. We're ready to go and ready to rely on them or extend using them. We have a mailing list of over 1,000 users that we can connect with. We have been connecting with early adopters around sales. We watch our social media targets to see what we're doing. But you probably want to know about the profits. So here, this is what we're looking at. We're estimating about $600,000 in sales in the first year. And we're starting only with 2 of the product lines, the storybooks and the facilitator kits, because those two we are ready to launch. We're continuing to work on sourcing the materials for the puppet making kits and plan to put those out next year, but these are not included in our numbers that you see here today. So as you can see here, our fixed costs, our margins are very, very lean. And so with an average margin of 64% and about an average volume of 1,800 items sold, we can bring in about $200,000 in profit. And that basically means that we could hit our break-even point within maybe the first quarter, or about 475 units or items sold. We are very ambitious. Emily and I have been at this for just a bit over a year, so let's take a look at where we've gone and where we've been and where we're planning to go. It's just been about a year since we launched that online content, winning awards and extending our reach globally. We've distributed over 1,500 puppet making kits, but we need a business now because we can't scale and be able to do this on our own with our one-off strategy of making things on our own. In terms of the business, since the CCEI Summer Fellowship, we've continued the positive trajectory in relation to the business. I'm going to highlight just a few of the things that we've done in just the 2 months since the fellowship ended. Number one is we filed our trademark. Number two is we have executed our licensing agreement with UConn, so we're good with that. We have secured the sourcing for our storybooks and facilitator kits. And we've been connecting with early adopters around those potential sales. So we want to use those first batch sales to accelerate our market strategy and be able to continue to expand both the product line and the market. We've decided to start with schools to build our awareness and credibility, but we see strong potential expansion into family consumer markets, which is over 25 million households with young children in them. Emily and I have been watching trends in that industry, and we are prepared to think about what the launch would look like for both product expansion into those markets as well as licensing and merchandising down the line as we go forward into our next couple of years. So to summarize, in terms of our go-to-market strategy, we are ready for production. We are going to leverage our current awareness and expand on that awareness with our users. We can be quickly ready for sales, and we will use those early sales to iterate and expand, learn from those early adopters, and iterate and expand our product lines. Our goal in this pitch competition is to seek that initial funding to help us with that inventory purchase of both the storybooks and the facilitator kits. We're trying to purchase about 500 each to get us started. A $25,000 investment will actually lead us to $50,000 in sales so that we can use those sales and turn that around and hit our break-even point pretty quickly. So please join us to make sure that every kid learns important life skills to feel their best selves. I'm going to invite Emily to come up with us. She's got some products that you can explore on your own. We will answer your questions, and if you want to see anything else in our display, let us know, although it may fall down. We'll see.
Well, thank you for the presentation. Great work. I'm curious to know, how does a customer know that the product is working?
How do they know that it's working?
Yeah.
That's a really good question. So how do you feel after you shake out the yuck? Right? So it's a physiological response. It's a cognitive response. It's an ability to be able to engage in a classroom or go into a tough meeting and be able to stand here and do a pitch maybe a little bit better or smoother the next time around, depending on how that goes. So how do we know it works? We can track both short-term. From the scientist's perspective, we're doing studies now that have looked at the qualitative comments and the short-term response of what happens in classrooms. So teachers tell us kids are engaged more than they've ever seen them after you do this. It's fun, and it keeps you wanting to be in the classroom. Kids who maybe would have run out of classrooms before, which is happening and does happen a lot, are willing to come in and do puppet making workshops and practice these strategies during rainy days when you can't be outside in recess. That's the short term. We're working on some studies and some longer term grants to study some of those long-term effects.
Okay.
Can I just add real quick, one of our favorite stories, I think, is that you know it's not only working for the students when they're practicing it, but then for them to tell their teacher who's an adult, hey, Miss Erin, maybe you should shake out the yuck. You're seeing a little stressed out, or modeling for other kids in the classroom. And that's what we really see with Feel Your Best Self, is that it sticks with them and they should start to share it with each other and with adults who also need these strategies.
What are the target ages or grades?
Sure. So it's we started with elementary. So it's like, think about like that K2 is the sweet spot, one to 4. We've done it K5. We've done it in preschool. So what's interesting is we started with that elementary as our main group, but we've seen extension downward. So we have a number of preschool sites around the country, including Waterbury Early Childhood Readiness. We just worked with 90 of their folks in Family Readiness to do the downward extension. You can't use necessarily all of the strategies, but you can adapt them. We also heard the same thing from some of our 5th grade teachers who say, well, what you've got in the video, that might not be the way that we would do it at 5th grade, but what we do is we then brainstorm and we talk about what would the strategy look like in our grades. And as Emily had said, we've done it with a lot of adults actually too, and we actually had the opportunity to do middle school and high school in Waterbury last spring.
And do you have a guess about whether it will make more sense to go to stay focused on the core sort of puppet consuming ages, or whether it would make more sense to develop different products that use the same techniques to scale, to age up?
That's a really good question, although I would imagine you're going to really enjoy making your puppet too. So don't negate that puppet making isn't for grown-ups as well. I think right now, the core space is to start with this elementary, but the beauty behind this emotion regulation and the emotion coping strategies, that these are like cradle to death strategies. You can use the same concept and the same steps, very simple steps, at any stages of life and in different situations. So there's potential for expansion in other directions, but our primary love is the kids.
It sounds like there's a strong difference between before and after, even though right now it's primarily qualitative of what you're doing. What do you believe are the long-term impacts of reducing anxiety by providing children with these skill sets, and how will it affect our world?
Sure. So it's all part of this umbrella term that we call emotional well-being, which really has 2 components. One is about how you feel in your everyday moments, and the other is then about how you feel about your life overall. And it's the everyday moments piece that contributes. If you think about it, it's adding all together, all those little moments that then help you interpret how you feel about your life overall. So this everyday moments or positive affect space, you're not always going to be happy at all times. That wouldn't be normal either, right? But what you do want to do is have strategies so that you can shift those emotions to be able to feel a balance, a more heavily stacked balance of the positive emotions. And the research on that, I could talk to you forever about that, but we won't do that. Long-term outcomes in terms of jobs, employment, money you bring in, family happiness, you name it, you want it.
Awesome. And then you mentioned that you've deployed a digital toolkit online. And what are the usage analytics that you've seen in terms of in that initial testing? Congrats on the telly. I've won those and they're hard to achieve. So congrats.
Thank you. Do you want to do the analytics? I can do the analytics. So last time we looked, I think we were over 120,000 views on the videos, over 25. Emily's in the back over there. 25,000 downloads of the handouts. So there's a tip sheet. If you watch a video as a parent, you could download the tip sheet. Over 30, she's telling me. We just were looking at it last week and I forgot, sorry. There's a tip sheet you could download that says, hey, how do you want to talk about this? And how could we put this into practice in our own life? So those are the metrics that we're watching.
And have you surveyed that audience to get like an NPS or anything?
Yeah,
like
there's
that?
some of those users that we had in that survey data space.
Very cool. And
interviews. We've done a lot of interviews.
And have you done like an NPS to say would they promote it? Have you done any of those kinds of things yet? Or?
No, we've just done it on our own. But we are the top Google search organically.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Very nice. I'm going to sneak in a question.
There was
here.
one more question.
But totally worth the clapping for sure. And I do look forward to putting together my puppet. I'll just say that publicly. Curiosity about the working with teachers. Are you finding on a state level Or is it regional? Is it by town? I mean, Connecticut, we're tiny, but we have 169 kingdoms here.
Yep.
So how has that been, and has that been an accessibility issue or not so much?
It depends. So we offer monthly webinars that are online that people can Zoom in and watch. And so we've had folks as far as Australia, New Zealand come in and watch some of the monthly webinars that we do. So some is just like a touch point on a particular topic. Some, Emily and our other Emily in the back, go into schools and they'll work with teachers more robustly in both our Spanish, and we also have English, and we also have all the materials in Spanish, so we do some number in our dual language classrooms as well, where they do more hands-on. But we don't need to be there very long. I think that's the beauty, again, of the accessibility and the ease of use. The lesson plans and the things that we've got, a teacher that's pretty experienced, that's somewhat experienced, can pick it up and put it in place. A parent can do it. It's not, you don't need us to be there. People want us to be there. But then we also field lots of emails from people all over the country.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting about Feel Your Best Self, unlike some of the curricula that you saw that really need a whole school or administration to get behind to purchase because they can be upwards of $15,000 or more, Feel Your Best Self can be a supplement to what you're already doing. So our customers can be individual teachers. They can be administrators for whole schools. So we've been able to do both, where we've been able to work directly with grade levels in an entire elementary school, but we also have many teachers who find it on their own, and because it's so easy to use and cost effective, they can implement themselves really easily in what they're already doing on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you.
I just have one more question. So
Sure.
how close is this modality to something that could like plug into like a Waldorf or like one of those types of programs?
That one I don't know the answer to.
Okay.
Can you help me out with that a
Yeah,
little
no,
bit
just
more?
my 2-year-old's in like this like school thing with like Waldorf, and they do a lot of experiential play and that sort of thing. So I'm just curious if that's like baked into those models or not. I'm kind of a new to this world, so.
Yeah, got it. I know now what you're talking about.
Sure. I mean, I think that's a really important part of Feel Your Best Self. And I think if we were to expand to other ages, that's something we'd always want to include. That idea of creating experiences, using creativity, getting hands-on entertainment. It's one thing for kids to be able to watch these puppets go through these difficult life situations and have to learn these strategies. A big part of ours is that there are now experiences built into this toolkit, include the puppet making, that they can make their own puppet to model these behaviors, solve problems with the puppets, and really help with communication. So for us, that aspect is really important to the learning experience.
And for me as the psychologist, the generalization across settings. So you get to take that puppet home eventually, and you're practicing it and talking about it with your caregivers at home, which is great for everybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, can we get a round of applause for all of our startups tonight? So at this time, if you are watching virtually, you can vote for the FML CPA's Audience Choice Award via the button on your screen. If you are in person, there will be a slide coming up with a QR code, there we go, so that you can vote on your favorite pitch of the night. So at this time, I'm going to steal our judges, and we're going to go down the stairs to the stock market room to convene and make our decisions. Everyone else in person, mingle, get some food, get some drinks. If you're virtual, just hold tight, and we will be back in 15 minutes with our decisions for the evening. Thank you.
Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. I'm going to encourage you to continue to enjoy your beverages and the great food, but just turn your attention this way, because shortly, the moment that we've been anticipating all night is going to be upon us. Hello, my name is Michelle Cody, and it is my privilege to be a part of the instructional team at CCEI. That means that I get to work with these incredible teams day in and day out for 8 weeks during the summer. And I feel lucky enough to continue to be able to work with them, many of them, after the Summer Fellowship Program is over through this experience and hopefully beyond. It's no secret that the Wolff New Venture Competition is my absolute favorite night of the year at the School of Business. And that's for really 2 reasons. One, it's because we have an opportunity to take a moment and to sit back and look at the way that all of these teams' hard work has paid off. They truly shined tonight. So I just want to take one more moment and celebrate all of their hard work and their accomplishments. You guys did an amazing job. I also love this night because it gives us an opportunity to reflect on the importance of programs like this and the development of new ventures here in our state and here at our school. And one measure of success of programs like this is to think about where teams go after they successfully complete this competition. And so we did a little digging back into some of our alumni to see what they've been up to since graduating. And there's some pretty interesting and impressive feats that they've accomplished. Lamb Division, a company that we all know very well, is now manufacturing their retinal implants in space at the International Space Station. They're utilizing microgravity to figure out how to evenly coat protein structures in an implant that will restore vision. Really crazy stuff. The Pro Velocity Bat has now garnered $2 million in revenue since graduating from this program just a couple of years ago. Phoenix Tailings has raised over $25 million in venture capital to support the growth of their technology. Pisces Atlantic has taken orders $10 million worth of fish food, all right, in just a short couple of years. Bastion Health has raised almost $5 million. SedMed got their first shipment of actual product and is going to be fulfilling those orders very, very soon. We just got that news in the last couple of weeks. Tremendous, tremendous growth by our teams, and it shows the capacity that we have at this university to unlock new ideas and, most importantly, to bring them to life and, as Jen said, improve the world around us. So we could not be more proud of the work that you all are setting out to do right now and the environment that we've created in order to help try to make you as successful as possible. But another thing that I like to reflect on nights like this, and you guys as participants in the program have heard me say this time and time again, success in a business or in any new groundbreaking initiative is really incumbent upon finding early adopters. People who believe in you when you're a new and untested concept, when you have no track record of success, but identify with what you're trying to do and put their full weight of support behind you. Luckily for CCEI, one of our early adopters is sitting in the front row. The Wolff family has been such an incredible part of this story and the growth at CCEI. 8 years ago, when we came up with this idea of figuring out how to take the best teams from our summer fellowship program and give them the boost that they needed to go from concept to market, Gary Wolff and his family were the first to say, yep, absolutely, let's do it. Let's give them some startup capital and the vote of confidence that they need to take it to the next level. So Gary, thank you so much for that catalytic support and being a true believer in this. We hope that you're proud of the work that we're doing here, and it is my honor and pleasure to invite you up to the podium to talk about your involvement.
Wow. That was absolutely the best 6 presentations we've had. Not one presentation wasn't excellent. And it really is my father's dream that this could happen. We actually go back to the early 80s in trying to drag the university to entrepreneurship. At that time, you didn't have to give very much money to be a big donor for the university. They collected a total of $4 million for everything, and 3 was in athletics. That gave my father access to the presidents. And with that, he kept talking to the presidents about entrepreneurship. And he would drag my brother or myself or both of us along for many of his meetings, where we would basically have the door closed in those early meetings they weren't interested. What a change. We started with bringing in entrepreneurs to talk at Jurgensen. First one was either Ben or Jerry, I don't remember which. We'd give the university the money to pay them. We had Dr. J and Stu Leonard and Famous Amos, and probably did 12 or 14 of them where we brought people in. We had Fred DeLuca, his wife just gave the university $40 million. Started Subway. He was nice enough not to charge us. So it really was slow. Then we got a course. We got a 1-credit entrepreneurial course that people could sign up for, and we brought in the guy, the family that started Big Y. We brought in Willington Pizza, who's consistently, who's a friend, Jeff got the highest ratings year after year. So for 3 or 4 years in a row, he came in. And that got some people interested. And one of the things he did, which was really interesting, he'd always say, how many people want to start a restaurant? And honest to God, half the hands would go up. By the end, he'd say, how many of you like to be with your family on Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve with your friends, Easter with your family? And you know what? I think he saved people a ton of heartache, because at the end, instead of half the hands going up, 2 or 3 might go up. So there's also that end. We then got the endowed chair and started the competition actually in 2000. But most of the people that started, maybe 2001, 2, I don't remember, were just practicing. They weren't going to open a business. A few did. A couple of them even sold their business already, because I've run into some of them. But then when Tim came, Michelle, Jen, this became really real. And what you guys have jump-started your businesses, what you've learned here, if you tried to do on your own, first of all, more of you would fail than are going to succeed now. But secondly, you've saved years of heartache. And I just would like to one more time give Jen and her staff a really big hand. They are fantastic. So I am really proud of this program. We are, you stole some of my stuff on some of the fundraising that's happened, but the proof is in the pudding. People that win it, not just the winners, by the way. and I don't remember if she won or not, the gal that did the bathing suits, you know, she's sold out her line this year. It's not just the winners. So many of the people, whether you win or not, first of all, presentations, any one of you could have won, but second of all, start your business and run with it. You all have fantastic things that are going to help our society, going to employ people, going to increase wherever you are, and then remember the university when you've made it. John asked me. No, he didn't. He didn't. I actually went to Southern, but growing up in Vernon, my father was a graduate. I started going to the UConn basketball games in about 1958 or 9, and been on the campus ever since, sort of. So it's been a great run. And now it is my pleasure to give out the first place prize to Feel Your Best Self. A fantastic presentation.
This might be the biggest check I've held. So it is my privilege and honor to present SwipeStorm with the $10,000 Santander check. Congrats.
All right. It's my pleasure to announce third place to Andros.
Good evening, everyone. My pleasure to award the audience FML Audience Choice Award to Pure. So.
I feel like we're missing a great opportunity for a drum roll. We haven't had one yet, so if I could have a drum roll, please. I am excited to announce the Bay State Financial Award to, oh, thank you, Particle N. Come on, gentlemen. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Yeah, get on it in here, you're welcome. Great job. You're too tall. Want to shift? I'm shorter. You want to come this way? This way? Woo. Did you want like a 10 action shot here?
such an honor to be here. Thank you so much to UConn for inviting us. I don't have the honor of being a UConn graduate, but this is such a fantastic institution. And we from Climate Haven, which is a climate tech incubator that is trying to serve this whole state, we're really excited to be invited into the UConn family. We hope to be able to work, the way that you have brought people together and that you continue to bring people together around the state to support these entrepreneurs is fantastic, and we're excited to be part of it. Thank you. It is my honor to, I feel like I could have very excitedly given the award to several of the companies that are here that are working on climate and environmental problems. They're working on fantastic problems. You guys all did a great job. It is my honor to award the Mark and Jamie Summers Innovation Award to Mudrat. Congratulations. Well done. Yeah.
All right. Thank you all so much for joining us here in person in Hartford and online. We are so grateful for our judges, our sponsors, the School of Business, the University of Connecticut, obviously the Wolff family, and all of the staff members here at CCEI. Thank you for being here. Congratulations to our teams. You all did such a fantastic job, as we knew you would. Have a great evening, everyone. We hope to see you back here next year.